Hey, what's up, everyone? Welcome back to another video. So, here's a message for anyone who is curious, just beginning, or may just need or want to hear the message, which is that meditation is one of the quickest paths to really knowing and understanding who you are. So many times in life when we're at these crossroads where we feel that something is missing and we want to find what that piece is, we always go searching externally for the answer. Maybe what we're looking for is at the other end of a hobby or at the other end of a career path or a specific social group. But the best way to find that answer is to spend time with yourself, not in search of things that are beyond yourself. And through meditation, you get direct access to this understanding because when you sit down and you spend that time in silence, you realize two things. The first is the distinction between who you are and what you think. What we think is part of the problem or part of the challenge to begin with, right? We're thinking, I need this or I want that. And what's out there is the thing that I need to be fulfilled. But when you start meditating, you create this wall where you understand you aren't these thoughts that are constantly being generated by your mind. This is the function of the mind in so many ways, is to just generate different thoughts. And you know that these thoughts aren't a reflection of who you are because they're so inconsistent. You could have a thought saying that you love something or someone one day, and maybe in that very same day, your mind is telling you you don't like that exact thing. You don't like that exact person. Your mind will tell you that you're unworthy one day. You shouldn't feel confident. You're not built for what it is you're trying to overcome, what it is that you're trying to achieve. And then later it'll tell you, you got this. You know what you're doing. You're going to be able to get what it is that you're going after. So your mind will play both sides of the fence. Your mind will just consistently throw things out there, and it's what we decide we're going to grab on that we identify with as who we are. So if it just so happens to throw out that negative thought that we don't have what it takes, if that's the thought we choose to become attracted to and latch on to, over identify with, then we're going to feel that we're not capable. If the next thought comes along that says that we're great or we're capable, and we decide that we're going to grab onto that one, then that's the thought pattern that we're going to identify with. And it's not to say that that's inherently wrong, but it is to say that it's not inherently who we are. The thoughts aren't who we are. We are the observer of these thoughts. We're the awareness of these thoughts. And so when we sit in meditation, we get this opportunity to feel what it's like when these thoughts finally subsides, when the mind finally quiets down and gives you an opportunity to say, hey, I don't have to believe what these thoughts are telling me because I could see the separation between who I am and what I'm thinking. And they're just things that come and go. A analogy that I may have said here, but I'll say it often because it always strikes me, is just the concept of looking at the sky and seeing the sun, blue sky, the clouds. If you don't know any better, you think they are all one and the same. But obviously, as we gain knowledge and we gain information, we know that these are all distinct things that are different. The clouds, they just pass through, they come and go. Sometimes there's many, sometimes there are none. And our thoughts operate in that very same way. And through meditation, we realize we're not the thoughts are the clouds. They just come and they go. And we are essentially the person beyond the clouds. And that is a very foundational way of understanding who we are, because it's not going to dismiss our desires. Yes, I'm still thinking that I like a specific activity, a specific form of entertainment, specific people. That's fine. But we don't grasp onto it as the core of our identity, which gives us the flexibility to let things go without constantly self-sabotaging ourselves, without constantly feeling this sense of torment that could come with this so often. You see people become very frustrated by not being able to achieve the desires that your mind is telling you should have. And when you could get beyond that, then that's when I believe you could get to the second phase of understanding who it is that you truly are. Because once you get beyond the thoughts and the chatter and the clutter, it's more of a feeling as opposed to how you identify with things, which is this feeling, once the mind and the thoughts subside, of peacefulness, quiet, stillness, blissfulness. It's not anxiety, constantly being disturbed about one thing or the next. It's not frustration. It's not even things that are generally thought of as being positive. It's not happiness. It's not joy. It's just contentment, being satisfied. And the more that you get to stay in this space, the more you're going to understand that this is your actual nature. And you can see why I didn't understand this at first. When I would read biographies of meditators and they would just want to meditate for hours on end. Now, I don't do this. I have a practice that I do in the morning, and ideally a practice that I would like to do in the afternoon. That one could be a little more hit and miss, give or take. But what these people are so ready to get back to is that feeling of peace, that feeling of understanding who they really are. They've tapped into it. They know what the source is. And when you start moving about throughout your day, you're always still going to have this understanding. You're always still going to have this awareness. But it's nice to be able to get back to that. It's like your battery is being drained and you can't wait to charge it to make sure that you're good to go for the rest of the day or the rest of the evening. And this is who we are. It's how we were put here, and it's how we can leave here if we get this opportunity to reconnect with that feeling and that understanding. And the fantastic thing about it, it doesn't cost you any money. You don't have to be a certain race. You don't have to be a certain class. You don't have to be a certain gender. You just have to take on this practice and continue it for the long haul, because the benefits will get stronger and better as you go along. We're always going to have external pursuits. I don't think, at least at this stage in my life, that that'll go away anytime soon. But we don't have to think that understanding who it is that we really are is something that we have to seek out there, as opposed to, as cliche as it may sound, something that we have to seek within us. That's it for this one. I appreciate you guys watching. Share a comment below if you have one, and I'll talk to you next time.